variety and I think really good quality vendors this year. I'm very, very excited that you've all joined us. Like I said at the beginning, not everybody could come today because it was kind of a last minute thing. And I would love for you to come to all of them. If you can't come to all of them, that's totally fine. I just want to kind of touch on some little things every time we meet, just to kind of keep everybody up to speed. The first thing I just want to talk about is marketing. We hired a new social media company. They're already getting started. We're going to start highlighting past vendors who have been with us in social media as we're leading up to say, these vendors are coming back. And then we're going to highlight the new vendors as well as we're getting closer. And then during the market, we'll kind of intermix everything. But they're great. They're already getting started. We're starting to run ads, I think in October, 1st of October, those will start. But we have a great social media presence. So anything that y'all do or you tag or you create a post that you're going to be at our thing, make sure you tag us. And if we see it, then we'll reshare it because we have lots of followers. And I know a lot of you have a lot of followers, so we can kind of help obviously promote everybody. My intention with this is really just to kind of, create a relationship with y'all. I think I talked to many of you many times, but I'm here if you have any questions. If I don't know the answers, which I will not know all the answers because this is sort of a newer position for me as well, I will find the answers out for you and get back to you. So please feel free to reach out either through email or I think you have my phone number. You can call me or text me. So that's part of the marketing. The other thing that we're doing is we're going to be posting or we're buying basically the size of about 15 MARTA buses. So for those of you who aren't in Atlanta, MARTA is our public transportation, and we're doing some buses that are kind of downtown, midtown, Buckhead area going out west up to Cobb. And then the rest of the buses will be going out east up to Decatur, Tucker, that sort of thing. So that will be a really big thing, I think, letting people know that we're here. We're just really trying to boost, obviously, that. And then we're looking at buying a billboard also on 75 or 85, kind of coming into the city where there's a lot of traffic. So people will be backed up and they can see us. That hopefully starting in November. The buses will start in the 1st of November as well. So they'll be, have a couple of weeks out there before the market starts and then hopefully bring more people to it. And then we're also just doing some things around parking, letting customers know where to park, hopefully a little bit better. That was kind of a complaint last year. Buckhead, for those of you who've been there, can be challenging on parking. So we want to make sure, obviously, our customers are not frustrated. So those are kind of the big things at the moment. Any questions on that?
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. Okay.
Excellent.
Excellent. All right. So let me share my screen. I want to show you some stuff about the booths. I know a lot of you have been here before, so this may be something you already know, but I wanted to just touch on, can y'all see my PDF here? Okay. All right. So again, we're starting November 17th. We're opening a weekend earlier this year. We're starting that date. We'll talk a little bit about move-in. I think it's going to be a great weekend because it's right before Thanksgiving. Again, we're going to be doing a lot of promotion for that weekend. So the weather should be nice, which will be good. And then, hopefully we'll have big crowds. Plan on moving in. We're going to start moving in November 13th, that Monday. This is all in your stuff that you signed off on, but I just want to revisit it. We're going to start moving in on November 13th at 9 a.m. And then through Wednesday, the 15th, I think we'll end at 6 p.m. hopefully. So plan on moving in those days and getting your booth all set up. Move out will be the day after Christmas. We'll start, so December 26th through that Friday. So you'll have like 4 days to get moved out at the end of the market before the new year. Booth dimension. So these booths were handmade in Germany. Okay, so they were made by the metric system, which, those of you who are in America, we do not follow the metric system. So this makes, changing some of this stuff into inches and feet a little bit complicated, but I've tried to spell it out as best I can. Basically, and I'm going to talk first about a single booth with the front up. So you have some options on how you want your booth built out. And again, if you have more questions about this, we can totally talk about that offline, but this is for a single booth with the kind of the half wall in. So there is well, okay, so let's say inside the booth width. Okay, so from like if you're in the booth from wall to wall, it's about 9 feet, approximately 9 feet across. Okay, and it's about 6 feet deep when you're in the booth from the front to the back. There is a counter that you can put in also. And if the counter is in, it hangs over the front a little bit. And I'll show you some photos that I've tried to find that kind of show these things. It hangs over the front a little bit. And so then but it comes into the booth. The counter is like almost 2 feet wide, basically, or deep. So if you're in the booth, that counter is going to take up probably 1.5 feet to almost, so think about that too. So if you have the counter, it's going to kind of eat into your space. If you are a food vendor like Beata and Keith who are on here, you can have the counter for sure if you want to, but also the backs of your buildings will probably not be there. You'll probably have more space because we'll build you out to have more space behind you to be cooking and things like that. So, and we can talk about your specifics also, but this is just kind of for a general overview. Okay. Let's see the counter space and then the height. And the height that I mean is what you can see from the outside as a customer. So it's about 5.5 feet. So from the counter to the top of the next, piece of wood or whatever, that's kind of part of the roof part, is there's about 5.5 feet there that you can see. Okay. All right. So that's that. Banner size, 18 inches by 48 inches, 18 inches high by 48 inches wide is good. And again, I'll show you some photos in a second. The thing to think about, Beata, if you want to mute we can hear you also. I don't know. The thing to think about when you're creating your banner, and I saw this a lot last year, is that a lot of companies or a lot of vendors like to put their name and on their banner. I recommend you put what you're selling on the banner, because what's going to happen is, unless your name is very clear to what you're selling, because if people are walking around and when the market's crowded, you can't always get up to the booth really easily, but if they can look and see, oh, this place is selling clothing or this place is selling pretzels or whatever, then they know, obviously, and then they can come up to buy what it is they're looking for. But if you had your name on the top, it's hard to tell sometimes what you are selling. And, I don't want anybody to get missed. My intention with this whole market is to help all of you vendors individually be as successful financially as you can, because I want you to have a great market. And I want you to love it. And I want you to come back, obviously. So just thinking about that, how do you advertise what you're selling versus what your name is? Because people don't always care what your name is. Let me show you. So these are single booths right here. This is sort of how they'll be decorated. So we'll have garland, you have a little star hanging down. And then we have lights, I think, going around the top of the roofs as well. Your job is to decorate the inside as festive as you can and make it very enticing for people to come up to your booth. So just kind of keep that in mind too. That really attracts people. The better it looks inside your booth, the more attractive the more people will come up to it. So let's see. So these are some examples. So this was a bar last year. So they had on the bottom kind of beer, wine, and schnapps. And on the top, they just wrote bar. They had just a thing that said bar. Like that was very clear, right? Like this is where I go if I want to get alcohol. So that kind of thing is what I'm talking about. This was a wristband and info booth last year. Same kind of thing. I think having, somebody's trying to get in, sorry. I think having your advertising of your products on the top is probably better than on the bottom, because again, if it's crowded and people are standing around, then you're not going to see it as you walk by. It's hard to see, you're going to be looking what it is. So just think about that. And you want to just have the biggest letters you can in the clearest way possible, what you're selling. Let me see here. This is another one, the crepes, Lucia crepes. Hers obviously is very clear, right? It's like, this is what they're selling. And so you know where to go for that. So this is another example. The other thing that you get to do, so this is, you can see the counter here, right? That's the counter that we can put in. You can leave that off and you can bring in your own thing to kind of support whatever you want to display in front. And I'll show you another example of what somebody did. You can cover this with something to make it a little prettier. These shelves in the background for this particular vendor, they did themselves. And I'll show you a couple of shelves that we can put shelves in your booth. I think it's $100 per shelf to get that in. If you let me know ahead of time, if it gets too close to the time and you want those in, it's going to be more expensive. So just know that, but you can have us put in a couple of shelves. Let me see if I can blow this up. I don't know if you can see that. So see behind this guy, there's a couple of shelves. Those are the shelves. Those are the shelves that we put in right here. They covered theirs. I think they're just wood or maybe white, but they covered those obviously with like a red, some sort of paper. So you can do that, right? So anything to make it, again, more colorful and prettier, will be helpful for you. People will want to come by here. Let's see. This one, this vendor retired. She's not coming back this year, but I just like to show this because, she has all this stuff hanging. She put in little, I don't know what she used to hang all these materials. She covered her counters with her own cloth or whatever, her own garments. These were her shelves that she brought in, or maybe little stands that she brought in and covered. So she's really, decked it out. So this obviously is very pretty. So it's that kind of idea, right? Like just, dress it up as much as you want to on the inside. It's going to be yours for 6 weeks. So you might as well make it look the way you want it to look. This is what a booth looks like when it's closed. So for those of you who haven't done our market, when you have the wall in the front, you can pull this door down from the top at the end of the night, kind of hook it from the inside, and then there's a door on the side or the back, depending on which booth you get. And you can bring a padlock and you can lock it. So you can leave all of your stuff in there. Again, we do have the entire market is fenced in. We do have 2 big gates that we close and lock at night. And then we have a security guard walking around. So everything should be fine, but this does help protect it from the weather if rain comes and that sort of thing. Let me show you a photo of this booth. You can also have the choice to not have the wall in the front. So this booth likes for people to walk into their booth. So if you want that, that's fine. Again, you need to tell me before we start setting your booth up, and we'll as we get closer to the time when we're setting everything up, I'll check in with you to make sure, how do you want your booth? But just be thinking about, the problem is if you do this, it's kind of cool because it's like a little store and people can step in and walk in. Only problem is you can't lock it because there's no wall on the front for the door to connect to. I think last year what I saw was people either had, pieces of plywood that they would kind of somehow fix to the front, or they would cover it with tarps in the front to protect their material. So just think about that as well when you're kind of planning out how you want your booth to look. And I think those were all the photos that I had. So are there, and if you do a double booth, let me go back to this first one. They're right next to each other, and then there's the wall. There's no wall in between. You can walk, between both booths when you have a double booth. So it's nice and open. Yeah. Are there any questions about that?
Yeah, I actually have a question.
It's
your measurements had the 67 inches in the front, but the inside is vaulted, right? There is no ceiling.
Right. So yeah, let me see what that is. It's on that. I sent you this image. So it is from the floor to the top. What does that say? 110.23 inches divided by 12. So that's 9 feet high to the, to the very top. So obviously it comes down like that, like a roof. So it's a little lower in places, but yeah, it's pretty tall. So. Other questions? No.
Yes.
Oh.
So if you have the double boot, I see that the roof, like in between the two roofs, is there gonna be space, or how is that works out? So
Yeah, I'll so like this, you mean this photo?
yes, so there is space between the two boots.
There's no space. They're connected together when they're a double booth, and you can walk between them fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Much more open.
Okay, and what's between the two roofs so the water doesn't come in if it's raining?
What's between the two roofs?
Yeah, where the two roofs meeting, like that. Is that attached, or water is coming down in there when it's raining?
There's a gutter there. So
yeah, there's like an easy drop.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So the water is not gonna come inside the boot when it's raining right there.
No.
Okay, good.
Shouldn't.
Thank you.
Yeah. It should not. If it does, we need to fix it. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And is it possible to have the front on one boot if it's a double boot and not the other one?
I think so. I will check with Marco on that, but I do think so.
But if we don't have the front, we won't be able to lock it. That's what we thought, right?
Right.
Okay.
And go ahead, sorry.
Also, we have like a menu board, what we usually put out in front of the boot. It's like a triangle shape. Is that allowed?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Yes. I would also be out. Yeah. I mean, you want to make sure people can see it too. So
yeah,
there's another photo. I'll try to find it of a food vendor that had kind of a menu board up, like kind of on side of the booth, so you could see it up. So I can show you that, and if you can, if you want to try something like that, you could. But yes, you can put out whatever you want, kind of right in front of your booth.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Well, if there are any other questions, please feel free to, email me or call me or whatever, and we can talk about your particular situation. Everybody's a little different. Is there any other questions or concerns or anything I need to know and I can find out?
Yes, Kim.
Yes.
Is the parking place for indoor or outdoor parking place?
It's outdoor. It's right next to our market, though, so it's very easy to get to.
Okay, perfect. Because I have the high roof van. This is good for me.
Yes. You can drive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have one
If we have a
question.
double booth, should we have two banners?
It's up to you, but you can. So you have more space. So you could have, kind of what you're selling if you wanted to, and like different things on your banners. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And there are some people that like to have the banner on top and then a banner on bottom. If you have a single booth, that's totally fine. But just think about where people will more.
So one question for me.
Yeah.
The booth, if we choose to have it open, it looks like the booth is off the ground, I'm assuming for rain purposes, so the water doesn't soak the bottom. Is it possible to have a ramp of any kind, or is it definitely going to have to be a step to step up into the booth?
I can ask Marco. I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I'll ask him.
Last year, from what I remember, is we had an extension for a wood platform, so you can put it outside. It is a step, but aside from that, you can put some additional stuff on the platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone getting excited about Christmas, or is it too far away still? Huh?
We don't have time for that yet.
Yeah, I know. Y'all are all busy with other festivals, I think, right now. So
yeah.
All right. Well, was this helpful? I don't want to waste your time doing these kinds of things, but sometimes
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
okay. Sometimes it's easier to talk things through than, you know. So I recorded this. I will plan on recording the other ones as well and send them out. So obviously, I mean, I want people to be live if you can be, but if you can't, hopefully you can still get the information. And then again, you know, always reach out if you need something. So, okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Kim.
All right. Y'all have a great rest of your day.
Yes, thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye.